My eyes burn, my throat burns! Oh no, I missed! No! Yes! No! God dang it! Hey everyone, welcome to another Xavier video. Last time you saw him, I was just doing a brief introduction, well really just a brief announcement saying that I had bought my first car, that I had bought my 2016 Dodge Dart. In today's video, I'm finally gonna walk you guys around my 2016 Dodge Dart known as Xavier. Just before I do that though, I do want to point out that yes, he does have some red accents on the wheels. Yes, that's a change from when you last saw him. That's, other than something else you're going to see in the interior here very soon, those are the only mods that I've done off camera. Every other mod, I say every other, yeah, every single mod that I plan to do going forward will be on video. Maybe except for the racetrack taillights, I don't know yet, Anyway, let me walk you around my car, starting with the engine. So when it comes to the PF generation Dodge Dart, arguably the most important thing to look out for is your choice of engine. Obviously the PF generation Dodge Dart came with 3 engines. The 1.4 liter multi-air Tiger Shark 4-cylinder turbo, that's in the 500 Abarth. The 2.4 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder Tiger Shark engine, also with multi-air. That we saw for later model years. We saw that we saw that all across the board, but in 2013 we saw that mostly on the GT model. And then you have what I have here, which is the 2 liter non-multi-air Tiger Shark 4-cylinder engine. And you might be saying, Cody, isn't that literally the weakest engine in the lineup? Why the hell would you go for the weakest engine in the lineup? And the reason is simple: reliability. Because of the 3 engines, the 2 liter non-multi-air Tiger Shark 4-cylinder is the most reliable engine the Dart came with because it lacked the multi-air. Now you might not know this if you don't own a Dart or any vehicle that has a 2.4 liter multi-air engine in it, but the 2.4 is, to put it bluntly, known for consuming oil, for burning oil, to the point that even if you get your oil changed, you should probably check your oil like twice a week at a minimum. Now it's not all 2.4s, but the 2.4s that do burn oil, they burn oil. And for my first car, I really didn't want to have to worry about whether or not there was actually oil in the engine, so that's why I omitted it. The 1.4 liter turbo has its own problems, but the main reason I didn't go for the 1.4, even though it has the most modding potential, is simply because I just didn't want a turbocharged engine. I don't have anything against turbocharged engines. Sorry, I just saw something. It's not that I have anything against turbocharged engines, it's just that I had driven my mom's car, a 2017, not a new gen, it was the previous gen from 2008 to 2017. A 2017 Tiguan that had the 2 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, same as the Volkswagen GTI, the Mark 7. It had that engine. So I really didn't want another turbocharged engine, not because I hated turbocharged engines, I just wanted a naturally aspirated experience. And I'll tell you what, for one thing, I'm very glad that I did, because this engine is louder than the turbocharged 4 in my mom's Tiguan. Though the car also has a little bit less sound deadening, so I can hear it better because of that too. But yeah, I just wanted a naturally aspirated experience for my first car, and I really don't regret that. And once again, this engine is the most reliable of the 3, even including the 1.4. Now that's not to say you can't get high miles out of the 1.4 or even the 2.4, because you can. But it requires a keener, more proactive eye than the 2 liter. Now, on top of that, that is not to say that I'm just going to neglect this engine. Hell no, not on your life. But you don't have to be so anal about your maintenance as you do with the other 2 engines. So 2 liter, as I said earlier, the 2 liter engine has the least power. It has 160 horsepower and 148 pound-feet of torque. So it has the least horsepower and the least torque. The 1.4 liter multi-air has 160 horsepower, so same as this, but 184 pound-feet of torque. Far more than this. The 2.4 liter 4-cylinder has 184 horsepower, but 171 pound-feet of torque. So this is the least powerful, but according to Dart people from forum threads that I've read, the 2 liter with the manual is about as fast as a 2.4 liter made it to the Hyundai PowerTech 6-speed automatic transmission. So I don't technically have the slowest Dart model. The slowest Dart model would be this engine would be this engine in a heavier Dart with the PowerTech automatic, because it also has the PowerTech. And here's another important thing to note for anyone who's thinking about getting a Dart. The Dart, the powertrain options really depends on the model year. 2013, it was kind of a free-for-all. Some engines, like the 2.4, was mostly locked to the higher trim levels, like the GT and the Limited. But once you get past 2013, once you get to 2014, 2015, and 2016, the model year that my Dart is, the powertrain options become far more limited. The 2.4 is basically the standard engine across the range other than the SE, which is what I have here. And the 1.4 is limited to the Aero model. That's the one that really gets the 41 mpg. Now the reason why that's important to note is because of this. The 1.4 engine, I think in 2013 and onward, even up to 2016, has the Fiat DDCT 6-speed automatic transmission. You do not want that transmission if you can at all help it, because that transmission is the most foreign to the North American market. And by that I mean most North American consumers are not familiar with the concept of a DDCT, so you're just setting yourself up for failure if you're not used to that type of transmission, let alone have ever had one. And then I think also it's a Fiat transmission. It's a, shall we say, experimental Fiat transmission, so you really just don't want to mess with it. So unless you're going to get the 1.4 with the manual, you just want to avoid the 1.4 altogether. The 2-liter and the 2.4, thank God, get, as I've been saying, a Hyundai 6-speed PowerTech unit. It's a regular automatic transmission, torque converter, the whole 9 yards. That's okay. That's actually pretty good for reliability, as is my Fiat 6-speed manual. Yes, it's a Fiat manual, but a lot of people have been saying that that transmission itself is also pretty reliable and can handle more power than the Hyundai 6-speed automatic. Apparently that transmission is relatively weak for big power. So, you know, if you plan on acquiring one of the old road race turbocharger kits for the 2.4 or the 2-liter, the transmission is gonna be your weak point. But yeah, so that's something I did want to know. I do want to make note for you guys, because your powertrain option really does matter. This isn't like a Challenger or a Charger where it's basically, you know, you have the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 or the 5.7 liter Hemi V8 with, depending on the year, either the old Mercedes 5-speed or the ZF HP 8-speed auto, and they're just kind of the same across all models. The Dart is not like that. You really got to do research on which powertrain you want. So again, I went for the 2-liter Tiger Shark 4-cylinder engine with the 6-speed manual. And one of the reasons I went for the manual is because I've wanted a manual all my life. But the second reason is because I think that it'll be cheaper in the long run from a longevity point of view, because when the clutch goes, and it will go eventually, that's going to be a lot cheaper than trying to change a whole torque converter. So, because my personal goal is to get this car to at least 300,000 miles. 400,000 is my personal goal, but I could live with 300,000. And with this engine and transmission combination, I think I'll get it. So something I kind of gave away the ghost on by accident, that was my Facebook. I am sorry, I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, cringe. But something, I kind of gave away the ghost on something about this car that I didn't mean to quite so early, but honestly, this whole video, unlike a lot of videos as of late, is actually completely unscripted, because I figured I could just do it by heart, which so far I think I'm doing pretty okay. But I gave away the ghost about the fact that this is an SE, and anyone who actually knows the PF generation Dart will probably be saying, how is this an SE? I mean, you have the 17-inch hyper black looking wheels, you have the black headlights, you have the blacked out front fascia, and SEs don't have any of that. They have 16-inch Steelies with terrible looking hubcaps on them, white wheels, or white bezel headlights, and the body color front grille. How is this an SE when it doesn't have any of those things? It has the appearance of a higher trim model Dart. And I was saying the same thing. I was saying the same thing when I looked up this Dart, when I was looking to purchase it a couple of months back. I was saying the exact same thing. And then after I purchased it and got the VIN and did some Carfax stuff and did some deep research, I found out something fascinating that even I did not know about the Dart. As it turns out, in 2016, maybe 2015, you could get the SE with something called the SE Rally Package, and what that did was add the 17-inch hyper black wheels, the black bezel headlights, the blacked out front grille, and something a little more important than that, the rear anti-sway bar, because once again, anyone that knows Darts from this generation will be saying, yeah, well, the Dart the SE Dart didn't come with a rear anti-sway bar in the back. If it was an SE trim level, it only had it at the front, which made the handling terrifying if you were unlucky enough to catch yourself in an emergency situation. Well, the SE Rally package adds the rear anti-sway bar. Thank the Lord for that. Because let's just say I put that to the test one time when I didn't want to. It was impromptu. I really didn't want to do that. But the rear anti-sway bar is on this SE, and it's all thanks to something called the SE Rally package that, once again, I had no idea about was even an option on SE Darts at all. So that's how it has the 17-inch wheels, the headlight, you know, all the appearance of a higher trim level Dart, but it actually still has the radio and all the other telltale signs of an SE, primarily that 2-liter engine. But yeah, so no touchscreen, no 8.4-inch touchscreen, no 7-inch TFT screen as well, actually, in the interior, which I'll show you guys in a minute. Bit of a shame, but turns out that's plug and play. All you gotta do is take the old gauge cluster out, put the new one in, bam, totally works. Super cool, had no idea about that. Obviously I wouldn't, because that's not the sort of thing that a non-owner would think to look up. But yeah, so that is how this is an SE, but looks like an SXT from like 2013, an SXT, a Rally, a Limited to a certain extent, even though the Limiteds didn't have this, again, the black bezel headlights, and didn't have the wheels in this color. Actually, no, they didn't have these wheels at all. The Limiteds didn't have these wheels. That was, I'm thinking of the Rallies that had the silver, like polished aluminum version of these wheels. And honestly, that's something I completely forget, because almost every Dart that I see that has these 17-inch wheels, the hyper black version, which I think is the better version, by the way. I don't know if you guys agree, but yeah, so as I'm saying, that's how this is an SE, even though it doesn't look like one. Another telltale sign that this is a lower trim level Dart, not necessarily an SE, because I'm sure SXTs and some other Darts don't have this, but higher trim level Darts like the Limited, the GT, and more likely than not, higher optioned SXTs have a little turn signal bulb here to go with the front. This being an SE, there's just nothing here. So, you know, if you're going across a crosswalk and you just happen to be at the perfect angle that you can't see if I have my turn signal on, I'm sorry. I'm half tempted to actually change this and add the turn signal light into the wing mirror, but I don't know how difficult that's gonna be yet. I haven't really looked into it. Part of me doesn't want to look at, like, part of me doesn't want to do it because weight reduction, bro, but at the same time, considering, how do I want to put this diplomatically? Considering how many times people have nearly ran into me, even though I've just been existing, not fooling around, not being a hooligan, I kind of want to add it for the sake of safety. You know, just to cover all my bases to make sure people don't keep running into me. So another thing that separates the Dart SE from higher trim level Darts, this is something that I brought up in the beginning that I am very much aiming to fix, because it's one of the highlights of this car, is the fact that the SE does not come with the racetrack taillights. It does have the racetrack portion on the corners here, it just doesn't have, it literally has no LEDs in the middle whatsoever. So that is something that I'll be aiming to change, because again, that is one of the highlights of the Dart. That's one of the defining features of it as a compact, if you ask me, because no other compact at the time, and very few now, there might be one or two that I could maybe think of, have anything even resembling this. So like I said, we will definitely be fixing that in the future. And then also I want to make a custom SE badge, because SE Darts don't have an SE badge, and I think that's trash. I think that that's lame. I know it's a base model, yada yada yada. Oh, it's only a base model, why would you want to advertise that? Well, I'm proud of my SE, dang it. I am proud of my SE, so I want to have an SE badge right here. Plus, honestly, just a bunch of other custom badges, because so we'll do that. We will do that sometime in the future. Apologies for the wind noise. The wind just kicked up out of nowhere, and it's cold. It's like 50 degrees, and I know some people are like, I know Northerners are going to be like, you fool, you don't even know the meaning of cold. If any of you remember that Vine, let me know down below. Tell me who it was. If you can't tell me who it was, I know you didn't watch it. But yeah, so another thing that this isn't supposed to be me talking about mods, but screw it, we're here. Wing, yes. Big Wang Gang will be coming to Xavier at some point in the future, because as much as I love his clean look, I definitely think he needs a more pronounced ducktail spoiler, along with something else very Gen 5-esque, you know, there's a little Viper in every Dodge type of thing. So yeah, but that's, oh, another thing that separates the SE from, and frankly 2-liter Darts, some 2-liter Darts from higher trim level Darts, is that they don't have any of the exhaust bezels on the lower applique here, on the lower cover applique, whatever you want to call it. And that's a shame. That is a damn shame that I don't like. So that is going to be something that I aim to change as well in the future. But I did find out something funny. I say some 2-liter darts because it turns out in 2013, I believe if you got a 2013 Rally 2-liter, it did come with dual exhaust. And it was the only way to get a 2-liter with dual exhaust from the factory. The more you know. The more I find out, the more I find out about the dart, the more I find out just how strangely quirky, like really, really quirky it is. So yeah, but as I'm saying, we're gonna change that at some point in the future because I want my exhaust to be visible, for sure. And I have a very specific look I want the exhaust tip to have, which you all will see. I want to say in the near future, but it might not be that year. Sometime between this year and next year, for sure. For sure. And then obviously some exhaust stuff because I want more rumbly noises. And here you have it, everyone, my command center. So obviously 6-speed manual, a relatively big ball. We have a reverse lockout that I honestly did not know about when I first got the car. I was like, how do you put it in reverse? Like, where is reverse? Found it. Kind of weird getting used to it. I might mostly be used to it now, but it was definitely weird for a little while. As you can see, the secondary mod, it's cheap tape. We ball on a budget, okay? We balling on a budget. Don't hate. I wanted to make the steering wheel look sportier, so red accent, which is part of the reason why the wheels are the way that they are. But yeah, and hell, we have red accents in the interior, the gauge cluster everywhere. So tying it all together, okay? We all in this together. All right. 3 pedals. I do have to say, and this really should be saved for a driving impressions video, which I'll do later. I do not like the gap between, A, I don't like the size of the brake pedal. B, I don't like the gap between the brake pedal and the gas pedal. Because my feet might be relatively big for my stature, a 5'4" munchkin. They're not big enough, though, to make heel-toe downshifting comfortable in this car. Because, and the other thing is the gas pedal is so much, like the brake pedal, okay, that's the gas pedal, this is the brake pedal. So the brake pedal is much further up than where the gas pedal is. They're not flush, which, you know, I suppose in most cars they're not, but like it's a big difference. Obviously when you start braking it then kind of evens out, but like I'm saying, it's just not the most comfortable thing in the world. Because I'm used to, when it comes to heel towing, because of my Logitech G920, yeah, I have a wheel with 3 pedals at home. I'm used to the top part being on the brake and then using your heel like that on the gas pedal. But because of because of the way the pedal layout is, I have to have the heel, or like really just the side of my foot on the brake and then the toes on the gas. And I'm really not used to that. So I don't, like I'm saying, I don't really, and because then you're rolling your foot onto the gas to flip the throttle, but then you're risking coming off the brake by accident. So I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to get a wider brake pedal at some point, just so I can have more of my foot covered. Because it's like really tiny Italian town car brake pedals, which, duh, the dart's based on an Italian platform. So yeah, you know, that would be the case. But yeah, like I said, I don't love it. I really don't like it. The pedals are just a little bit too far apart. I'd prefer more of a Viper layout where the brake and the gas are closer together, so heel towing is easier. But you know, the Dart is because of how Chrysler was at the time and the fact that the Dart was rushed, it's not a performance car. It's not a performance car. Even though I'm going to make it more fun to drive, better to drive, it's not a performance car. I have no illusions about that. So yeah, there are going to be some things that need to be changed in order to make it easier to drive in a spirited fashion. But something I do like that you won't be able to see from this angle, but I will have B-roll of it, is the fact that it's not just a completely black interior. Oh my God, it's not just a completely black interior, which I love. We actually have the tan roof line, tan on the A pillars here. They go all the way back to the C pillar, which is quite nice. I wish the tan was more prevalent than it is, but the fact that it has any at all, like, this car is too good for me. This car is too good for me. I thought I was gonna get a completely depressing black interior, but actually the little bit of tan is such an appreciated touch. It really is. It makes all the difference. It really makes all the difference. No automatic headlights with this being an SE, so I have to remember to turn them on when it's dark out, and I'll admit there have been a good couple times, even recently, like in the last 3 days as of this recording, where I forgot momentarily. Because my mom's car has automatic headlights, so I'm just used to not even thinking about it. So yeah, it's like when I'm, I don't want to say in a rush, but when I'm just not thinking about it, when I'm just more thinking about getting going and heading into work for my part-time job, yeah, I'll momentarily forget. These seats, dude, are incredible. Way too good for me. I didn't realize how hard my mom's Take One seats were until I rode in this car for a prolonged period of time and then jumped back into her car like right after. Those seats are rock hard. They are not comfortable. I can't ride in those seats for more than an hour before my butt cheek starts hurting. And I know that that's gonna sound funny, but I'm being dead serious. My left butt cheek will hurt in about an hour of riding in that car. This 3 hours, my left leg moving all the time, I'm good. So comfortable. It's pretty quiet in here. Again, as I said earlier, not the most sound deadening, but it's not ridiculous in here. Phone calls can be a little bit hard to hear at times, but then my hearing is also degraded a little bit as of working inside a loud warehouse and then next to loud 90 plus, 100 plus decibel cars. So that's more of a me thing than it is a car thing. But the one benefit, though, about it having less sound deadening than higher trim level darts is the fact that the SE is light. Anywhere from 3,100 to 22 and 3,186 pounds. So it's a good 150, 200 pounds lighter than some higher trim level darts. And that makes a big difference, obviously, in the handling, in the fuel economy, but mostly the power. So when we do get around to doing power mods, it should really help. It's mostly going to be wheels, though we're going to try and reduce the weight even further, and I digress. So once again, Chrysler, like old school radio with a CD player in it. I don't have any CDs in this car because all my music's on my phone. So I don't even generally listen to the radio unless I'm trying to save on phone charge. But no dual zone climate control. Kind of a shame, and I've honestly yet to see a 2.0 that has it. You'll have to let me know, Dart owners who are more familiar with the Dart than me, or at least have just looked into it more than I have. Let me know if there is any 2.0 with dual zone climate control. I've yet to see it. Honestly, I don't really mind, and my passengers, my coworkers that I give rides every now and then, they don't seem to mind it either, which I'm quite grateful for. The cold, when I turn the AC on, is cold. It's lovely. The heat, even without turning the AC on, is hot. It's nice. I can't tell you how many times I have left my finger here just a little bit too long, and my fingertips will get burned. So nice and warm, nice and toasty, and I got this car in the winter. So you better believe I was using that heat all the time. It was so nice. The main thing that I love about the interior, though, other than a couple things, is how intimate it is. It's so much closer than my mom's Take One and some other cars that I've driven over the years. Everything is within reach. It's me-sized. That's something that I really wanted, and something I think people, you know how people say live within your means? You know, not spend more than you have, that sort of thing. I think people need to drive within their means instead of being a 5-foot soccer mom that has a big Escalade or a Tahoe or something. Just get a Forester and be done with it, or a minivan even. Get a minivan, but something where it doesn't feel like you're a tiny little gremlin in a massive Transformer-sized mech suit, because your visibility is going to be impaired. You're not going to be comfortable in that car. You're going to feel completely secondary to that car. This, I feel one with Xavier. I feel one with my Dart, and that's what I wanted. That's why I was completely fine getting a compact. I didn't want something big. I don't need something big. So this interior is just perfect for me. I will say, though, once again, because of my stature, not necessarily height, but the way my height is made up, I'm relatively balanced, but I think I'm a little bit more leg than torso, which is annoying because, as you can see, there's not a lot of space between my knee and the lower dash here. And I have gotten my seating position down to a science. And when I have it like this, as you can see, my hand just barely clears the steering wheel there. This is as good as I can get it, which is really rather annoying, actually. So something I wish the Dart had for sure is Viper style motorized pedals. I don't even care if they weren't motorized. I just want adjustable pedals because I want to push the pedals further back. I want to push the pedals further back. That way my leg doesn't come up so high on the clutch to where I can't really move. I can't like do this. I can't cross my arms for a certain corner if I have to do a gear change in the middle of the corner. Not great, but I've gotten used to it to the point that I can actually live with it and it doesn't grind my gears so much. Because initially when I got Xavier, I will admit, that was a contentious point for me. That was relatively annoying, but just manual things, you know, just manual car problems, I suppose. But yeah, so let's move, I suppose, let's move to the passenger side now, the seat right next to me. All right. For a second there, I thought someone was in the back seat and got in the back seat without me knowing. But yeah, so this, honestly, I find this to be a very comfortable place to be. Actually, I didn't realize how close the dash is even on this side. That's pretty sweet. So, very comfortable place to be. I don't remember what I was doing the other day. I think I just came to hang out in Xavier just because I wanted to, because first car, and it's my dream first car. Like, hell yeah, I was gonna hang out in here. And I just reclined the seat back and just rested. I didn't sleep, but you know how you lay in bed with your eyes closed. I just did that. Perfectly fun, actually, perfectly enjoyable too. And again, because these seats are so soft, they're so soft and so comfortable, you can do that, and it's not ridiculous. It's not absurd to do that, which is pretty crazy. I will say another thing about, well, technically this is a post 2013, I think, change for the Dart. Darts after 2013, maybe after 2014, don't come with the bottom seat compartment in the seat bottom here for like laptops and stuff, which is a little bit of a shame, because another very minor gripe, because I'm learning to work around it, but a minor gripe that I do have with the Dart is I do wish there were a couple more cubby holes every now and then, because we obviously have the center console, which is pretty big, and I've put it to good use. But my mom's car has a compartment below, like the left side below the steering wheel. It's a driver's side glove box basically. And I never realized how handy that actually is, like absurdly handy, until I got this car, because it doesn't have one. So I do really wish it had a driver's side glove box. But having said that, the passenger side glove box is deep. And I mean deep. It is like, I've got stuff in it, but that's up to my bicep. That's me touching the back. Pretty deep, relatively tall, very, very useful. I just don't know what I want to really put in it yet. The door pockets here are a little bit less useful, I'll admit. They fit cups and stuff, but the front ones are okay. The back ones, not so much. Not so much. I will readily admit that. But yeah, also the red trim here that you'll see in the B-roll footage, definitely at some point gonna get the lights in there. Gonna put the lights in there, because that is, again, another sort of key Dart feature to me that is missing from my car. So we will be adding that at some point. I will be changing the gear knob just because I want to, because the fake brushed aluminum finish on it comes off. It's not off on mine, so I don't have to change it right now. I just want a different gear knob. I want a different feel. You know, can you see me? Also, if you have, it's not even really the cup. I mean, if you have a tall enough cup, it is going to get in the way of your gear shifting, but mostly the straws. It's the straws that, if they're tall enough with the way that I shift gears, it can get in the way. Didn't think that was going to be an issue until it became an issue. So, and not a crazy, terrible issue or anything like that, just enough that I had to make note of, oh, gotta either have the cup in the farthest holder or have the straw leaning back away from the gear knob so I don't hit it with my arm. But, you know, once again, just manual things. Also, the Dart has a proper handbrake. Not an e-handbrake, none of that electronic modern BS, an actual honest-to-God physical handbrake, which is what I'm using to hold the car right now, so I better not mess with it. I haven't done any handbrake turns. I might do that when the rear tires go at some point, maybe, just for kicks and grins, but honest-to-God handbrake, we love to see that. Real car, and this is as least technologically advanced as I could get the Dart. which is important because the 8.4-inch touchscreen, they changed something with the wiring or a lot of the components that go into making the touchscreen work. So if you go on Dart Facebook groups or certain forums, you'll see a lot of people saying, oh, my 8.4-inch touchscreen doesn't work anymore. How to fix, can I replace it? And the answer, and can I replace the factory 8.4-inch system with an aftermarket one? No. So you have to have the radio to be able to replace it with an aftermarket touchscreen system. Otherwise, you're out of luck. Other than the fact that, you could just place the aftermarket system on top of the factory unit. You can always do that. But you can't like embed the aftermarket system where the factory system was. Just Dart things, just weird Dart things. So another reason I'm glad to have gotten the base trim level, because it's easier to customize because it doesn't have all those electrical oddities, those electrical idiosyncrasies about it. So I can get my TFT touchscreen, I can get an aftermarket touchscreen, or TFT touchscreen, no, the TFT gauge cluster screen. I can get an aftermarket touchscreen that'll work just as fine, potentially even better than the Uconnect system that the Dart came with from the factory, or was optioned with from the factory, although I don't think SE's ever got it. So another, this is a really nerdy thing about the Dart. This is part of my defrost, and I just find that to be stupidly cool because these windows have fogged up a handful of times, even the front windshield has, and I didn't know that was aimed at that, and it defogged the window when I'm on defog. Oh my god, it's just one of those, such a little touch, quality of life. It's just brilliant. I love it. And then actually I like these air vents quite a bit too, because my mom's Tiguan has the rotating type where you gotta finagle it for 5 years just to get it to face you. I hate that. I hate that with a passion. So the fact that this just has a little knob and you can get it angled just the right way to actually hit you perfectly is underrated. Automakers, stop giving us, and it's not that you don't have to stop giving us round air vent holes. That's not the problem. The problem is when you don't add this little knob and you're like, oh, just spin it around. No, this isn't a volume control on a radio. It's air vents. It's air vents. Just give me a little knob so I can turn it however I want to, so I can aim it the way I need to, so it can hit me either with heat or with cold. That's all I want. Shouldn't be that hard, okay? Great. Getting away from that little tangent though, the rear seating is actually pretty good too. The Dart's bigger than a lot of compacts from its era, which was 2012, 2013. I like to call it the life-size compact because it has, I don't remember what the cubic capacity is, or not cubic inches are for the interior, but the Dart is very nearly by the EPA classified as a midsize because it has very nearly as much interior room as a midsize, as a Hyundai Sonata from the period. So it has a big interior, and I can tell you right now, I have had some taller people in this car, and they definitely appreciate the fact that even though the one guy I've had in this car, he's definitely a taller guy and struggles to get beneath the roofline here, still would likely struggle more in a bigger car. The seat wouldn't go back far enough in a smaller car. So, and then I have someone who's like 5'8", 5'9", maybe bordering on 5'10", regularly in the back seat. But to be fair, there's also someone really short in the front seat, so does have to move the seat back, but leg room, good. I've never heard any complaints about lack of leg room or headroom or anything like that. So life-size compact, this car has absolutely earned that title, and I'm grateful. And that was one thing, and I've had my family in this car too. When we test drove it, I got a Toro rental to just try a Dart out to see if I liked it. I had them all get in the car, and they were all comfortable too, all four of us. And that was something that was actually important to me, was making sure that if need be, I could have my family in the car, and they be comfortable. They be comfortable, not cramped, none of that. Actually comfortably fit in the car, and they do. So that was surprisingly important to me, actually, and the Dart fits that. So yes, it's bigger, yes, it's heavier, yes, it's slower, but there are certain advantages that come with its bigger size. And I think it was Edmunds, when they had a 2013 as a long-term tester, they said it rode like a big car, as far as I'm concerned. Other than like the suspension tuning itself, the actual composure of the ride, yeah, the Dart rides like a big car. I mean, it kind of is. It's a big compact. It's 183 point something inches long, and I'd imagine has a relatively long wheelbase to go with it. So for me, honestly, I think it's perfect. It's perfect for me. Yeah, there's a couple little here and there, but on the whole, very happy with it. Extremely happy with it. Well, I think that covers everything I really wanted to talk about with my Dodge Dart with Xavier here. If you guys have any questions, then let me know in the comments below and I'll answer them. Maybe I'll answer them in a short. Who knows? But in any case, I hope you all enjoyed this in-depth look at my Dodge Dart. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, share, and consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Please make sure you hit the little notification bell and then all notifications. That way you're notified every time I upload. I will see you all next time.